Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first video. Very excited. I wanted to, amidst all of the controversy in the Disney community lately, I wanted to talk about something that I think is a positive thing in the parks and something that I think is a light amidst all this dark. And that thing is why I love Frozen Ever After. And okay, I know that's a very unpopular opinion. I'm aware. Don't yell at me. By most standards, I myself am an Epcot purist, okay? So, shh. Don't. Maelstrom was lame. I'm sorry to say it, but it was. It was boring. It was historical, I guess, and like fantasy, but like as a small child, the troll was terrifying and it was boring. I didn't like it. I never wanted to go on it as a little kid because it was boring and the only non-boring part was scary. So no, the Maelstrom was just not good. And like, I know this is going to be controversial too, but in my head I kind of equate it to like Three Caballeros, where like I would go on it if I needed something to do and like there wasn't a wait, but I wasn't actively like, yes, I want to get on that. Number one thing I want to do. It's my favorite. Like, I've never met anyone who felt that way about the Maelstrom, and I have actually met people who feel that way about Three Caballeros. So my second point is that I know that people don't like Disney unnecessarily adding like Disney characters and properties and stuff to their parks, but I feel like it also has extreme benefits that those people who hate it tend to ignore. Like, Disney characters and branded content brings excitement for people who don't necessarily know anything about the parks, or like little kids. Like, if I was a little kid, I would have no interest in going on the Maelstrom, like just of my own choice. Like, I'd be like, it's a boat ride about Norway, that sounds boring. But I would have been all over a Frozen ride, like just like how I wanted to go on Three Caballeros as a little kid. I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but it was like fun because it had characters that I knew and like a song, and it was just, I liked it. And I hate to tell you people, but adding those characters gives it draw. It gives it a reason why people want to see it, why people like it. People like that movie. They want to go see the ride that's based off that movie. It doesn't matter what it is, but it works. It works. And it also, like, theming it around a kid's movie made it something interesting for kids to do. Like, I remember being a little kid in Epcot in the days of yore when Maelstrom was Maelstrom. And, like, the only things I liked to do in Epcot were in Future World. I liked Figment, I liked Nemo, I liked Spaceship Earth, I liked Soarin', like, I liked going through Interventions, rest in peace. I liked Club Cool, and, like, once we got to the World Showcase, I kind of lost interest. Like, at that point, I wanted to be at Magic Kingdom or even Hollywood Studios, which at that point was also not the most fun place for little kids, but that's a whole other. It didn't have any appeal to a kid. Once you got to World Showcase and once you got past Mexico, like you got on Three Caballeros, you were like, yay, that was a fun 4-minute kind of boring ride. There was nothing to do. Absolutely nothing to make you want to go any further in World Showcase. World Showcase was just a place that your parents dragged you through so that they could get drinks and make you try food that was gross. And like, yes, I'm aware that's why they made KidCot, but unless you happened to be an artistically inclined child like I was, KidCot wasn't that much either. Like, I was a rarity that I put so much time and effort into my little masks, and then when they changed them into the little Duffies on a stick, like, most kids that I sat down at that table with would color it all in one sitting because they wouldn't put that much time and effort into it. Like, unless you happened to be like a super artsy, super creative kid like I was that just loved coloring, like, KidCot was like maybe a few countries' activity. Like, maybe you'd work on it in Mexico, Norway, and China, but then you'd be done. And like, you're not going to make another one because you're not a kid who likes coloring that much. So, like, then what? You still have most of the lake to go around with nothing to do. I mean, that doesn't even matter now because KidCot is like, now you get a little Ziploc brand bag with some stickers. Like, that's, who is that going to entertain for more than 30 seconds max? That being said, I also, as a kid, had no desire to go back into each country's individual pavilion because I had no interest in the World Showcase at all. Like, in my head, there could possibly be nothing back there beyond wherever the KidCot stop was, because why would there be? Like, it was probably just more restaurants or like shops with non-Disney character stuff in them. There's no reason for kids to want to go back into each country's individual pavilion. And I think that Frozen sort of sets the standard for kids because it's like, because you have to start with Mexico. You go into Mexico, there's a ride in the back of that with Disney characters and a fun song. And as a kid, it's like, yay, that was cool. So then you get to the next country and you want to go back into that pavilion to see if there's something similar for you to do back there. When it was Maelstrom, the answer was no. What awaited you in the back of Norway was a weird ride about trolls that was kind of scary and not exciting. Now, kids have that experience in Mexico, come to Norway, want to go back into Norway because maybe there's something fun back there for me like there was in Mexico, and now there is. And it lets you out into a gift shop that is a mix of Disney branded merchandise and the typical Norway brands and immersive stuff that's in all the other countries. And I think that's really smart because the kids get off the Frozen ride. They were like, wait, that was fun. I like Frozen, whatever. They want to look around in the shop because there's Frozen stuff in the shop. But the Frozen stuff is mixed in with the Norway stuff. And they might find that to be cool too. But they wouldn't look at it unless it was mixed in with the Frozen stuff in the first place. I used to walk right by all that stuff. All the like Helly Hansen jackets and stuff. When that was the Maelstrom, I'd get off the Maelstrom. I'd be disappointed. I'd walk right out the gift shop. Like, I had no reason to want to look at any of it. But now that it's mixed in with Frozen merchandise, 2 countries in a row now have had something exciting in the back. And 2 countries in a row now, after that thing that's exciting, you found the rest of the stuff in the country that is less exciting, but you looked at it because of the draw of the exciting thing, and it was pretty interesting. What if there's something exciting in the back of China, too? Like, it gives kids a reason to want to go back into each pavilion and to look at everything because now they have an interest in Epcot. Now it's like, hey, these individual countries are pretty cool. My final, and I feel like the point that has the least chance of you people arguing with me about, is the fact that, frankly, just Epcot needed another e-ticket ride, okay? I remember going to Epcot in the days of yore when Frozen Ever After was the Maelstrom, and the My Disney Experience app was fresh and new and exciting, and you could only have one fast pass for e-ticket level attractions. This was problematic for several reasons, but I'm ignoring that. Figment, Nemo, Spaceship Earth, Maelstrom, Three Caballeros, all always had 5-minute waits. 5 to 10 minutes. I'm talking like when the park was moderately busy. Like, obviously full capacity days is something else entirely, but like just medium average days. All of that stuff, maybe 15 minutes tops. But Soarin' and Test Track were both always over an hour, no matter what. So if you wanted to go on those without waiting an insane amount of time, you had to get a fast pass. But you could only get one fast pass for one or the other. And it was not good. Epcot needed a third e-ticket attraction with major draw so that crowds would be spread out throughout the park and it wouldn't be so desperate to get on things that you wanted to get on. Because frankly, I don't want to wait that long for Soarin'. I don't like Soarin' Over the World. I think it's like a ripoff of that episode of Phineas and Ferb where they try to go around the world, except that has a better song and is more entertaining to watch. Soarin' Over California, yes. Soarin' Over the World, I'm not waiting that long for. So I am so glad that Frozen is there now, because it distributes the weight. Now, on moderate to average days, not full capacity days, moderate days, Frozen, Soarin', and Test Track are all about 40 minutes. Most of the time, Test Track and Frozen are 40 minutes, and Soarin' is 20 to 30. I think that's perfect. You don't need a fast pass to get on any of those. I don't mind waiting 40 minutes for Frozen. I don't mind waiting 40 minutes for Test Track. I don't mind waiting 20 to 30 minutes for Soarin' Around the World, even though it's bad. There's not just like so high concentrated weight on these two rides and nothing across the whole rest of the park like there was for my whole childhood. Frozen gave something to draw a crowd back away from those other two. You don't have to wait hours for Soarin'. You don't have to wait hours for Test Track. They're all evenly distributed with each other with about 30-40 minutes each on moderate capacity days. Don't come after me. I'm aware that when the park is full capacity, it is a different story. My point is, I don't understand why people are so against Frozen Ever After beyond the point of you shouldn't place unnecessary branded content into the parks, which I agree with. But hopefully this sort of explained to you why I don't feel like this was an unnecessary placement. I feel like this was an extremely helpful placement of Disney branded content into the parks. I don't feel like it was cheap. I don't feel like it was unnecessary or just for money grabbing, because it satisfied a need for a third e-ticket attraction and for more kid-friendly stuff back in the World Showcase. And like them or not, those projection-faced animatronics were the height of new tech when that ride came out, and they were pretty cool. And I still think that some of them are pretty cool. Like, the projection faces aside, that Elsa animatronic that pushes you down the hill, like, her wrists move pretty well, and, like, I think that thing's pretty advanced. So, I still like the ride for the tech, even though projection-faced animatronics have their own set of issues. It just is a good ride. Like Frozen or not, it's a good ride. And it gave Epcot something that it really, really needed. So, that's that. Epcot purists, you can come after me. I'm ready. I'm ready to fight you. I will fight you for Frozen. I will. Frozen belongs in Epcot. Deal with it.